How is it going, Bears fans? Welcome back to another episode of Beared Down Uncut, the show where we talk everything Chicago Bears every day of the week. Today, in episode number 149 of Uncut, we're going to be recapping basically the last week of Bears training camp, what we've missed. There's a lot to catch up on in terms of Justin Fields' progress, a lot of other players surprising us, and an interesting competition at wide receiver 3. So we're going to be breaking all of that down for you today. Before I introduce myself and my co-hosts, I would like to say, do us a favor. The support recently has still been wild, even though we've been inconsistent here recording podcasts on Instagram, especially on Twitter. You guys have been absolutely blowing us up. So if you're new to the channel and want Bears content every day of the week, we're finally done working. We're moving back into school here soon, which actually, surprisingly, as stressful as it seems, gives us a lot more time to record. So we're going to be recording each and every day. If you want that content each and every day, wherever you are listening, YouTube or one of the podcasting platforms, do us a favor, subscribe and drop a like and continue to support us. And we're going to keep bringing you guys some of the best and most comprehensive coverage on the web. I'm your host, Chris Malpe. Today, I'm back with the trio. The three of us are back. I'm joined with my co-hosts, Parth Shaw and Jaylen McClinton. Guys, what's going on? What have you been up to? How's it going?
Doing pretty good. Summer's coming to end. Moving back to Indiana pretty soon, so just packing up and all that. And yeah, it's been a fun summer.
We'll hopefully make it to the preseason game against the Dolphins.
We might have to. I leave like the day after, so we're trying to get that in the works. But if we can get that working, that would be nice.
Jaylen, what's going on, man? It's been a while since the three of us have recorded, much less you being in a video. But what have you been up to? How's it going?
I've been cooling, bro. I've been moving and stuff like that. So, like I said, I go back to school next week. So just preparing for that and stuff like that. This summer went by fast, honestly. But yeah, that's about it. I want to talk some Bears football in a minute, so definitely excited.
Yeah, I go back to school here in about a week and a half. That should be interesting. Just got back from vacation in San Diego. That was a lot of fun. Had me thinking about, even though the Chargers aren't there anymore, comparisons between Justin Herbert and Justin Fields. But yeah, getting back towards this school mentality and stuff, as depressing and demotivating as that can be, also getting back into the Bears season is going to be really exciting. We're going to get our series going back here really soon with Meet the Opponents, 3 key matchups and all that. So I'm excited to get back on the grind, getting back posting every day with you guys. It should be a lot of fun. But let's hop into this. I mean, obviously there's a lot to break down. We've missed probably about 10 practices since the last time we recorded, when Parth and I went in person back early August or late July. I'm not even sure when that was. Late July. But I think there's no better spot to start than here. And I'm sorry if I sound a little bit under the weather. I definitely am. No, I do not have COVID again. That would suck. I've already passed a couple of negative tests. I'm not sure if it's seasonal allergies or what, but definitely a little bit snotty and also a little bit rusty. So give me the benefit of the doubt. But we've got a lot to talk about, and obviously the main spot where we have to start is Justin Fields' progress. We've seen a ton from him the last week, video clips of him making sidearm touchdown throws, the comparisons to Patrick Mahomes, Matt Nagy, and everyone talking about how he's acting like such a professional. ESPN's Jeff Dickerson went on the radio this morning and said, the Bears are close, but not just there yet, for naming Fields the starting quarterback, which is really promising considering he hasn't even taken a preseason snap against a non-Bears defense so far. So, Parth, I'm going to start with you. I mean, we've seen it on Twitter last week. You and I have kind of gotten a surge on Twitter, so we've been a lot more active on there, tweeting about Bears, Bulls, White Sox, Cubs, the whole shebang. But from what you've seen so far on there and all the clips you've seen, what have you thought about Fields' progress so far in training camp?
What I've seen is he's getting better every day, and that's really important, especially when a young quarterback is, at training camp. Seeing improvement every day is something that the coaches want to see. Seeing him get familiar with the playbook, get better with his players around him. He's practicing with the twos, but it matters to get familiar with all these guys, as he's going to be spending time on the field with all of them, and just getting better every day. I think that's the biggest thing with him. We've seen some strides every day. At first he had trouble under center. He's worked on that. And then he had trouble, with some of the wide receivers, and he's worked on that. We've seen him get reps with Darnell Mooney and Allen Robinson now. He had a rep with Jimmy Graham the other day. So, I mean, as he gets more times with the ones, I just expect him to get better. And that's exactly what Bears fans want to see, is just a little bit of improvement every day.
Yeah, and he continues to seem to get the professional game down. We've seen him have a couple ball handling issues, but from what it seems, Parth, we saw him a couple of weeks ago working on his 7-step drop. He's been getting the ball out a lot quicker. He's been quicker in the huddle and such, and we've seen him slowly start to get sprinkled in with the ones. And I've been watching some live streams of camp and been getting sent a ton of videos from people at camp, because when I covered camp, it was a hit, and that's what blew me up. So I've been getting sent a ton of content. And from what it looks like, he's been really dominating in the red zone, looking better and better in 7-on-7s and 11-on-11s, getting the ball out quicker, going through his progressions. So I've said it all offseason. It doesn't seem like a training wheel situation like it was with Mitchell Trubisky. It seems like, when is he going to get tossed in? He's already ready. When is it going to actually happen? But I've liked the progression I've seen so far from Fields in camp. I'm so looking forward to this preseason. I'll be able to go to the first 2 games. Should be interesting to see Mitchell Trubisky return to Chicago with the Bills. But Parth and I hopefully will be able to get out this weekend to be able to see him face the Dolphins, and then again for the Bills. I haven't been this excited about a Bears preseason ever. So Justin Fields finally getting some action should be really interesting. We're going to be bringing you guys the coverage here from all of that, but I'm looking forward to seeing him finally get some time. I do think he's ready, and as Dickerson said, they're getting close, but when will it actually happen? I think we'll see Justin Fields suiting up here as QB1 for the Bears soon enough. Jaylen, you've been on Twitter. I've seen you. You've been active the last couple of weeks covering the Bears and everything that they have going on. From what you've seen and heard so far, what do you think about Justin Fields' progression?
Obviously, I wasn't able to go the day with you guys. We were all planning to go, and had some travels. Had a travel situation, so I wasn't able to make it. But from what I've been seeing, obviously by you guys and everybody else on Bears Twitter, that he's been progressing. Every day. Obviously, that's gonna happen. He's coming from a great college career into the NFL with a different head coach, a different system, obviously new players that he's never met before. So it's obviously going to take time. But obviously, as we've seen yesterday with the viral pass that's going all around Twitter, which is crazy because the Bears don't let you record clips, and you have
they're pissed off about that.
Yeah, they definitely aren't happy about that one.
For sure.
Yeah, I read that they I read on Twitter that Ryan Pace approached a friend of the show, Greg Braggs, and approached him and addressed him by his first name before Greg even got a chance to introduce himself. And Greg's like the guy that takes photos and videos at every practice. So I don't know if Pace has a burner kind of on Twitter or what, but the media
I hope he's following
they
us.
sit down are absolutely awful.
So what's up, Pace?
So yeah. It's interesting to see clips when we're able to. But continue, Jaylen. Sorry for cutting.
So like I said, as we've been seeing this clip go around on Twitter and other social medias of a dot of a pass to, I think that was Javon, right? Oh no, that was
Riley Ridley.
That was to Riley Ridley, which was an amazing pass. And obviously, there's been a bunch of more passes that we haven't seen being recorded, sadly, but I've heard he's been having amazing accuracy. He's putting a lot of balls, on the money. Some of them are caught, some of them aren't. Javon Williams, but that is what it is. I'm just excited to see him play preseason. Hopefully, I'm able to go with you guys on Saturday. That's the 14th, right? Yeah, to see him actually play some live action football. But I definitely can't wait to see him actually play in real game situations.
Yeah, and obviously the preseason coming up soon. Just more and more opportunities for Justin Fields, and the more we get to
this week play. Too against the opposite team defense. So
and it's been interesting because he's started to get sprinkled in with the ones. I touched on that earlier, so we'll see if that continues as we head towards the season. But let's talk about some other players that have surprised us, because there's definitely been a lot. I'm going to start by talking about 2. Parth, I know you and I went, so I'm sure you can note on a couple more. And Jaylen, I'm sure you've heard a lot, so you can touch on some more. But I'm going to go with 2 players on offense, 2 players that I didn't particularly expect would surprise me, that have definitely jumped out, gotten good opportunities, been able to prove themselves when they've gotten chances. Number 1, I'm going to go with Jesse James, is one that's definitely surprised me. He's someone who the Bears just signed, a mere 2-3 weeks ago, and he's been able to really pop out and take advantage of all the opportunities he's been given. We've seen him all over making plays with the ones, with the twos, with the threes, even with Nick Foles. So I do think he'll add a very good veteran presence to this tight end room. Just back in 2018 with the Pittsburgh Steelers, he played in all 16 games, had 30 receptions for 423 yards and 2 touchdowns. And even the last 2 years in Detroit, he was able to provide some solid depth behind TJ Hawkinson. So I do think Jesse James is a very solid player who has really jumped out in camp and really solidified his spot here among guys like Jesper Horsted and JP Holtz. Unfortunately, as much as I want to see those guys get playing time, especially Jesper, Jesse James has definitely been proving out and showing that he's going to make this roster. And then another one, I'm going to leave Alec Ogletree to one of you guys because he has absolutely been beasting since the Bears signed him just earlier this week. I'm going to go with Rodney Adams. He's a wide receiver who's further down the depth chart, who doesn't have much NFL experience. He's kind of been all over the place in the league. But it seems like for players that have been catching the ball that aren't named Darnell Mooney and Allen Robinson, Rodney Adams has been taking advantage of his opportunities when he's been able to get reps, and that's been really good for him. So I'm excited to see if he can hopefully make the roster. I think he's one of those players that's probably going to be on the roster bubble, but we saw him show out at camp for sure. Parth, he was on a lot of deep and go routes and was able to haul in some passes from both Dalton and Fields. So he's definitely been one player who's been impressive, and I do think he'll actually make the roster. We'll see how it ends up panning out. I believe he was on the practice squad last year. I don't know when they brought him in exactly, but Rodney Adams is definitely another one. So those are two offensive pass catchers who have shown up to me. Parth, I don't know if you want to take Ogletree. Yeah. He's definitely been impressive, or leave him for Jaylen. But who are some players? I mean, you were obviously there in person with me, so we got a little bit of a different perspective on it. But who was one or two players who stood out to you when we were there?
I'm going to go with the defensive side of the ball and go with cornerback Kindle Vildor and Alec Ogletree. These two guys have been playing really well on defense so far. I mean, Ogletree has, 6 interceptions in his first 4 practices with the Bears. He can take over Danny Trevathan's spot at inside linebacker. I would not be shocked if that happens. Ogletree is younger than him.
That might be a Matthew Stafford making the Hall of Fame or top 10 quarterback type of claim.
Eric Lambert has made this claim. This is where it's coming from. You know, this is where he's faster than Trevathan. He's younger than him. I know Trevathan's been on this team since 2016, but we've seen Danny struggle recently, and Danny struggles in coverage more than anything. And Ogletree's actually pretty decent in coverage, so I wouldn't be shocked if that happened anytime during the season. And then Kindle Vildor, coming into the season, the Bears have had question mark at the cornerback position. You know, we lost Kyle Fuller, and then having a second round rookie come in like Jaylen Johnson. Now he's gonna be our cornerback 1, and we did not know who's gonna be cornerback 2 coming to this season. It could have been Desmond Trufant, could have been Kindle Vildor, could have been Duke Shelley, could have been almost anyone on the team. But I think Kindle Vildor has been stepped up, has been playing well, and might take that spot week 1.
Yeah, and I will follow you up with one question. Ogletree's obviously been incredible, but from what we saw from Danny Trevathan, he looked a little bit better than he looked last season. Obviously, it's hard to judge on just camp, but that's interesting. And Ogletree definitely is going to be a rotational player that's going to make an impact. The Bears have had a lot of rotational players that have made impacts in the past, especially on that defensive front, that front 7. So I'm excited that they finally brought him in. He's a player that they had been looking at, I think, 2 or 3 times in the last couple of years. So glad they finally brought him in, and he should be interesting making an impact there as a rotational piece alongside guys like Christian Jones. So, Jaylen, I'm going to pass it to you. You obviously haven't had as great of a perspective because you haven't been able to actually go to camp. But from what you've seen so far, what players have surprised you? Anything that you haven't expected that you've seen from some guys?
I'm surprised that one of you guys haven't said John Vea Johnson. I think that's how you say it.
Yep.
Wide receiver out of Toledo. I heard he's been having an amazing connection with Fields. I know he made a couple nice catches at the Family Fest. I think that was last Tuesday. So yeah, an undrafted guy that hasn't really had much of an opportunity to play in the NFL because it hasn't been a preseason last. It wasn't a preseason last season. So he's been showing out. Hopefully we can see what he does in the preseason with Field and stuff like that. So definitely been a guy that surprised me. He's another guy that's on the roster bubble, but he could definitely sneak in as one of those later wide receivers.
Yeah, John Vaya Johnson's definitely an interesting one. I don't know too much about him, but once again, he's a name that you just keep seeing pop up, which is pretty promising. But now let's get into possibly the most interesting topic of this episode of Uncut. It's going to be the wide receiver 3 competition. Parth and I were there in person. We saw Marquise Godwin getting a ton of reps with the ones. We saw Demir Bird getting some reps at punt returner. Those have kind of diminished over the last week. It seems they're kind of leaning towards Khalil Herbert, it seems, at punt returner before Tariq Cohen obviously comes back. But there's an interesting conversation to be had about who should be wide receiver 3 for the Chicago Bears moving forward. Obviously, they trade Anthony Miller to the Houston Texans, I believe, for either a 5th or a 6th round pick. And they've got Demir Bird, who had 47 receptions for 604 yards and 1 touchdown, coming off a really solid year with the New England Patriots. And then obviously the former Olympian track runner, someone who struggled with health, but has been a really solid player in the league when he's been healthy, in Marquise Godwin. So they have 2 very interesting options here at wide receiver 3. There's also been some murmurings of them putting Allen Robinson in the slot and putting one of these other guys outside on the outside alongside Darnell Mooney. But Parth, I want to start with you. We saw some good reps from both of these guys. It seems like these are the clear-cut 2 for wide receiver 3 for now. Obviously, Daz Newsome's going to be another interesting name to throw in the hat once he's healthier. But out of these 2 guys, who do you like at wide receiver 3 to kick off this season?
I really like Marquise Godwin, and I've liked him basically since we've signed him. Been a big fan of him even when he was on San Francisco. I love his speed. I love what he can bring to this offense. And pairing him up next to Darnell Mooney is going to be dangerous, especially when Tariq Cohen's in the backfield too. You got 3 guys who can run a 40-yard dash under 4.4, and I mean you can put Justin Fields basically in that category as well. So I mean, this team has a lot of speed, and just keeping speed on offense, I feel like keeps the defense on their toes. And Matt Nagy loves to play with speed, so I expect Marquise Godwin to get a lot of reps at wide receiver 3 this year.
Yeah, obviously, the season that we know Marquise Godwin for was probably 2016 and 2017. 2017 specifically, 56 receptions, almost 1,000 yards, and 2 touchdowns for the San Francisco 49ers. He also compiled basically over 400 yards in 2016 and 2018, 2016 with the Bills, 2018 once again with the 49ers. I'd like to see him at wide receiver 3 if he's healthy, and I think you could switch him out with Bird. I think they're both really fast guys, and regardless of who you pair with Darnell Mooney, they're going to cause a problem, man, for opposing secondaries. So I think either of the 2, I'm completely fine with getting reps at that 3rd spot. Obviously, the other you would assume would fill in there at the 4th spot. But both these guys, if they can stay healthy, are interesting. I also think a little bit of leverage goes towards Marquise Godwin. He said he's been getting a ton of reps with the ones, and we saw it in person at camp. They've both been getting reps with the 1s and the 2s. But if Godwin can stay healthy, he has a little bit more experience in the league. We had a chance to talk with him after camp a couple of days ago. Just a great all-around guy, and Bird also was super pleasing towards the fans. So either of these guys I'm fine with. I'd probably lean Godwin if he can stay healthy. Bird might be a little bit more of a reliable option, but the Bears are going to have some serious speed. Matt Nagy's going to have some fun this year with both Marquise Godwin and Demir Bird, so it should be interesting. Jaylen, before we close it out, let's get your thoughts on wide receiver 3. We've seen some good reps from both Godwin and Bird. Who do you want to suit up in week 1 in LA as the Bears wide receiver 3 on the depth chart?
I was hoping that it would be Daz, but obviously he's been hurt. I think he just got activated off the PUP list, and he hasn't been able to return to full practice just yet. So I'm gonna go. I don't know. This is actually a hard question because Marquise Goodwin. I know you guys have been talking about. He's been showing off his amazing speed in practices, but so has Bird. So I'm gonna go with Goodwin here, just because I feel like he's more. Let me not say seasoned, because they're both obviously veterans in this league. They've been around for a decent amount of years in the NFL, but. I just think that 4.28 speed, that's Olympic speed for Marquise Goodwin. He's obviously competed in Olympic trials multiple times before, and I think he's definitely a very good fit next to Darnell. I think they both are, but we see, like you said, we've seen Godwin almost get 1,000 yards in a very good offense with the 49ers, and like you said, I think it really is no wrong answer. They're both fast wide receivers that could add some speed to this offense, but I'm gonna go with Goodwin here.
Yeah, so 3 for 3 on Goodwin, but Goodwin, however you say it, I don't even know nowadays. But definitely not discrediting Demir Bird. He should get some good reps as well.
Yeah, definitely.
And definitely is an interesting player coming off his sneaky good year in New England, where there was some inconsistency at the quarterback position. It should be interesting to see how he contributes to this offense as well. But thank you guys so much for tuning into episode number 149 of Uncut. Please do us a favor if you want Bears content every day of the week. We are, and I finally mean it for once this summer, we are coming back consistently with Bears content. Obviously, the preseason starting in just 5 days should be really interesting. Hopefully, we can all get out to that game, Bears versus Dolphins. But we're going to be bringing you guys the most comprehensive coverage on the web. That's how we like to try and separate ourselves from others. We just want to be consistent and do it each and every day. So please be sure to subscribe or follow. Continue to support us, whatever platform you're listening on. If you want Bears content every day of the week, we're going to keep pumping it out for you guys. We're getting our website back up and going for sure, starting this season. So if you want more content from us, head over to our website, beareddown.com. We're going to start posting columns, articles, and blogs every day of the week once again to get you guys filled in with the scoop the entire season. And there will be a giveaway coming soon. I think we're probably going to give away some preseason or some training camp tickets for those in the Chicagoland area. So if you want to enter those giveaways, be sure to follow us on social media, Instagram and Twitter. You can find the podcast on both platforms at Beared Down. I know you guys want a Justin Fields giveaway. Justin Fields jersey, excuse me. We're not giving away the actual but we'll definitely be doing that in the coming months as well. We'll definitely be doing that in the coming months as well. Also, just following us on social media is a great way to see what we're up to, some guests that we have on. We're definitely going to plan some guests here in the coming weeks, and you guys can also give us feedback on what you want to see, so be sure to follow the podcast on social media platforms. And finally, the links to all of our personal pages are down in the description, our personal social media pages, Instagram and Twitter. I advise you check us out on all platforms. We've really been hitting it on all cylinders on social media when we haven't been posting on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. So definitely checking us out personally on social media is a way to see our thoughts on all things Bears, all things NFL, and the entirety of Chicago sports. So please be sure to check us out. The links to those are down in the description. Parth, Jaylen McClinton, couldn't feel better to be back, especially to know that we're finally going to be back consistently doing this once again. Football season is really, truly right around the corner, and we're really into the thick of things. So any last words before we close this one out?
Preseason football is 5 days away now, so that's exciting. We just watched the Hall of Fame game last week. That was fun to watch. I guess some football in a very long time, but yeah, excited for football season coming back. It's going to be here faster than you think. The Bears kick off week 1 on Sunday Night Football, so it couldn't start off any better.
What the heck is that? Yo. Yo, I just seen something fly across my feed. Just scared the soul out of me. But yeah, happy to finally get back to football. I think this is season 4 for us. Yeah,
season 2, covering it comprehensively, but
I'm talking about
season 4 overall. Yeah,
that's crazy. It's only 4 years. But I can't wait for Bears football to come back. It's definitely been I wouldn't say it's been a long off season. I think the off season went by very fast, but it's definitely been a long time without football, and I can't wait to have it back. Especially since we drafted Justin Fields, it made it feel way longer than it actually was. But get back to what we do, what we love, and excited for it.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to it. I think we only continue to get better and better. And once again, we're still only young college students, so this is just the beginning for us, and we're going to keep doing this for a long, long time. I guess my closing note would be there's so much promise on this Bears offensive line, guys like Larry Borum, Tevin Jenkins, Elijah Wilkerson, and such. But, man, they got to get healthy. They definitely have to get healthy. We've seen the lows of the lows in terms of Bears offensive tackles the last couple of days at camp, but I sure hope they can get healthy by the season. Tevin Jenkins has been dealing with a weirdly interesting and intriguing
confusing
problem.
Yeah. We haven't gotten much information about it, and then
they say he's been dealing with his back injury since college.
Exactly. So you just hope that gets all right at this point.
Yeah, it should be interesting to see if Larry Borum can get some reps though, because it seems like they like his footwork. I liked what I saw to him when I was at camp, so definitely some premise as they look to build some depth, but I hope they can definitely get healthy moving forward so we can see them on the field in full force with guys like Montgomery, Fields, Dalton, Cohen, everyone being on the field. But thank you guys so much again again for tuning in. It feels good to be back. It's a pleasure to be your host. Once again, my name is Chris Malpe. And Bears fans, as always, do us a favor and stay safe and bear down. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.